All right. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the City of Essex Junction City Council regular meeting for Wednesday, March 22nd, 2023. Call the meeting to order. Do we have any agenda additions or changes for tonight?
We do not, other than this is a revised agenda because we pulled the Community Advisory Board conversation until the 12th when those folks can come to the meeting.
Right. Thank you for that. Anything from the council?
Good.
All right. Then with no changes, no need to approve of the agenda. And let's just dive into the fun one of a resolution for appreciation for Christine Packard.
And just, sorry, 1 second. Looks like Amber can't see the video.
Do we need to do audience? Public to be.
It's after this.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh.
I didn't see that earlier.
okay. Oh, right. Didn't even think about that.
So Amber, what is it you see?
Right now, CCTV has, it's just an NDI.
That's a good sign. That means it's loading the video right now.
Andrew, you can continue to talk, don't hold it up. I'll shoot a message when it comes live.
All right. Sounds good. Regina, want to take it away?
Yes, so let me get down here to the resolution. So you've got a resolution here for Christine Packard, who has put in an amazing amount of effort into the library over lots of years, and thankfully not going away from the library, just stepping down from the chair position, but it's been 17 years, I think.
17 as chair and 22 on the board.
So seemed like some recognition was due.
Hands down. And not even just as a member of the board, but also a member as a volunteer, somebody who spends a significant amount of time there helping to ensure that the library programming happens, things that my own son and family have partaken in, so I greatly appreciate that as well. A great example of a community steward and steward of the library.
And I would add that Christine has always been above the entire village, town, city, town situation, has risen above that down through the years, and has always descended down from the town to bless us.
That's exactly right.
Right.
And George was on the board, I think, how long ago?
Let me see, yeah. I remember, well, we can,
No.
I remember watching, preparing a Brownell Library budget,
Yes.
and it was interrupted by a plane hitting the World Trade Center.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
We were over at, I can't remember, you remember Dottie? It was a former board member lived over on, off Mans, yeah.
Yeah, it was, oh geez.
I think it wasn't Mansfield, maybe it was Mansfield. Yeah, it was Mansfield Street.
Yeah, we were working on a budget meeting that
Yep.
morning.
And that brought it to an abrupt halt.
Yep.
Yep.
So
Wow.
that was 2001.
Right.
Just a couple of years.
Yeah, just flew right by.
Right.
Or just incident.
Right. George, would you like to read the
Absolutely.
resolution that we have?
Absolutely. Let me go here. Resolution of appreciation for service of Christine Packard. Whereas Christine Packard has served as chair of the Brownell Library Board of Trustees from January 2006. Whereas after 17 years of leading the Brownell Library Board of Trustees, Christine Packard has stepped down as chair but will continue as a member of the board. Whereas Christine Packard's thoughtful leadership, calm demeanor, attention to detail, and deep appreciation for the Brownell Library and former village and now city of Essex Junction will be missed. Whereas Christine Packard led the Brownell Library Board and Library through many years of work and issues, including two town village merger municipal discussions, 3 long-range plans, 1 major overhaul of Brownell library policies, significant library security improvements, including a panic button system and security camera system, the departure of longtime library director and hiring of her successor, and a worldwide pandemic. Whereas, if that's not enough, the staff of the Brownell Library and Brownell Library Board of Trustees cannot thank Christine enough for her leadership and dedication over the past 17 years. Now, therefore, be it resolved that on this day, Wednesday, March 22nd, 2023, the Essex Junction City Council expresses its appreciation to Christine Packard for your many years of service to the Brownell Library in the city of Essex Junction. We thank you for your time and leadership in our community. Well done.
Been one of the best things I've ever done and been involved in, and I'm not walking away, but it's time to step aside.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anything else that anybody would like to add?
I'd just like to say it's difficult to encompass the meaning of the 17 years of service in less than 17 years of talk.
Well, if there's nothing else, then I would entertain the motion to approve the resolution of appreciation for service of Christine Packard.
I'll second that.
Well,
George will move it.
Jordan will.
Oh, okay.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. Passed unanimously. Thank you all. Christine, thank you very much.
Thank you, Christine.
You come to the library.
Absolutely. And so going back to the agenda, we will now move into 5A, which is public to be heard. So this is the portion of tonight's meeting where if there are any members of the public who wish to bring something to the board's attention that is not on the agenda, now is the time to do so. And so if you're in Zoom land, please raise your hand there. Start off with those in the room. If anybody in the room would like to bring something to our attention that is not on the agenda, if you don't mind raising your hand. Marcus?
Thanks. It'll be short and sweet. Looking at the EssexJunction.org website under the under budgets, the current budget that's listed, that's loaded there for 2024, appears to be the one that has the 1.4% increase, not the 0.4. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Yes.
Just reading it, that's what it looks like. So I just want to make sure that we have the right one loaded up on the city website.
Greatly appreciate that, Marcus. I assume staff will get the right one up shortly.
Yeah, appreciate that. We noticed some of that.
About 10 o'clock today.
Yeah. So working on it.
Thank you, Marcus. It's a very important detail that people are informed in our community what they're voting on, what the impacts of their vote are going to be. We want to make sure that they get the right information. So thank you. Anybody out in Zoom world? I'm not seeing any hands up. So we will move off of public to be heard and jump into business item 5A, department head conversation with Wendy Hisco, the library director. Hi, Wendy. Nice to see you.
You too. Thank you for honoring Christine. It's a little heartbreaking she's not going to be in the chair, but we're in good hands with Jean Grant, and Christine's going to stay on the board. So it'll all be good.
Absolutely. It's a scary thought when people who have been around for a while leave your board.
Yeah. Christine's been
Not looking anywhere nicer.
14 years. Now we're watching George and Dan.
Yes.
What's going on?
Scary for some of us.
Exciting for others.
Fun for us.
So
Yeah.
You guys, you both for a while, and
Yeah.
George from the library trustees, and you both
Yeah.
have made it.
Thank you, Wendy. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
So how's the library going?
Good. It's busy. We are back, I think, nearly full strength after a struggling, terrible few years of getting shut down abruptly and coming back slowly, trying to keep things safe. We're still looking at like the roof replacement projects. We're having occasional trouble staffing between sick people and turnover. But in general, the library's been great. We have a great team. Hopefully we can continue having the team together. And yeah, we have a lot of people coming in, a lot of new faces, which is kind of cool to see. After, you get used to the same faces, and since we've reopened fully, there's a lot of old faces and a lot of new faces. So it's been a good, things are great, really. It's nice to be back. Focusing on the library.
Nice. With the new people that you're seeing, are there any demographics that are new and appearing, or are there significant chunks of demographics that you're seeing?
Yes, we're seeing, I think the new housing apartments in the area have brought in a whole different demographic. I think we've had a lot of homeowners that have really utilized the library. And now we're seeing a lot more people who are new to the new cards, a lot of new cards, and a lot of them are in Fort Earl and other new buildings. So that's been kind of great to see, because you always wonder what's the next generation we have. So I think a lot of people grow up. If people grow up using libraries, they go back. They find them as an important resource. And I think at this point we're a safe place for a lot of people who don't have places to go during the day. And we do see a lot of people that are sort of in crisis, but we really appreciate having the outreach team available. We have an amazing police department that really handles things very compassionately, so we appreciate them as well, and appreciate their efforts to get the outreach workers embedded into our municipalities. So yeah, there's some new faces, some next generations, and so it's been it's nice to see. We have a regular flow of people coming in and out, and people using computers. We're back to having all of our computers on again, trying to keep things moving forward and as safe as possible, both for security and so contagions. So there's been like we haven't taken down our plexiglass. We don't know whether you will feel comfortable doing that, but it's been really nice to connect with more people at the library. And our youth department has been really arranging with people fully back. Youth programs are very active. Adult programs are a little bit slower for people to come back because we're offering everything in hybrid, which not everybody is, because we want to have that flexibility, because not everybody's really comfortable being together in a public space. So that's just, yeah, it's where we are today. Still really trying to be cautious and take care of as much safety as possible between staff security and safety and the public safety. So it's been good, and just we have the kids after school are back in campers, and thankfully they're now more involved in the programs. We had some significant problems with vandalism last year outside the building, even though we were open, but that was mostly after hours. So yeah, public building in a busy place.
Absolutely. And as you were talking about it being a building that people can just come to, also recognizing that on the very hot days and on the very cold days, it can function as the de facto warming or cooling area for the community as well.
Yes, yeah. We didn't see, I was surprised when we had that cold snap. I was expecting more people, and I think more people were hunkered down on that, but I think it was Friday or Saturday. Because I remember putting on the fireplace being like, that would be cozy. library services that way, but it also requires internet connection, which not everybody has.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's trying to keep a balance so we can serve all the public.
Great. My only other question, the other day someone had come in and mentioned that the library had been closed on a day that they had anticipated it being open. Does that happen often, and how could people be notified of when the library is closed?
It doesn't, it hasn't happened. We've had several situations with illness that we have not been able to get subs in for. And we put notices on our doors, we put notices on Facebook, we have a whole procedure list, but I think those are the big ones, and then we send out email, but if you're not connected to those digital resources, then you'll likely see it when you hit the door.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we previously tried to send it out through media outlets, but that doesn't work out in the time that we would need it when we've closed in the past for snow closures and that sort of thing.
Gotcha. I assume by the time media picks it up, the event's largely over with by that point in time,
Yes.
if not even into the next day or two.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
and we do have a pretty limitations on who we have to sub when we have illness. We try to our staff are very thoughtful and try to plan ahead. If we look their throat scratchy the day before, they usually give us a heads up, and so we try to get people in line ahead of time. That doesn't always happen as we want it to.
Great. George, Dan, Amber?
Yeah, Wendy, you've probably described this to us already, but you got to forgive me on that. But I had very high praise for what someone described as your locker system. Your and can you maybe describe that and what the impetus of that is? Yeah.
So I can't back up just for Andrew's question. When we are closed, we have our lockers open.
All right.
Like with the short staff, people, like we've kept staff on to answer phones and fill the lockers. So even if our main building is closed, we do keep the lockers open in regular hours because we can't be staffed. Like our building can't be safe with just 2 staff in it because of if we need to respond to anything, we do. But we can't, so we just have the locker system. So the locker system, we had the Department of Libraries offered grant money that they got through ARPA last summer, yeah. And we had a very short time to spend the money. So one of the things that I walked away out of our COVID experience was going to Home Depot and just scanning a barcode and having a locker open and not having to go and wait in line and then have to wait and have somebody retrieve something when you order something online. So I was like, is that something libraries could have? And it turns out it can be. So we got a few quotes, and the quote that one of the quotes was much more affordable, so we went with that because the other quotes were way beyond the amount of grant money that we had. And so the lockers, Hannah Tracy, our assistant director, worked a lot to get it to communicate with our software system. So now if somebody places a hold, we will check out the item to them. We still need to we don't have the capacity with the lockers we have, so we still sometimes have overflow on a book cart for people to pick up. Prior to the lockers, we had sort of a self-serve hold system that people could come and grab their bag. We always kept it in a bag to keep their privacy of whatever their materials they checked out. So the lockers allow that privacy to be upheld. And so the lockers communicate with our ILS, the integrated library system, and it will send out a text, I think a text message, or at least an email. I think it might just be an email with a barcode, so somebody can go into just the front vestibule and scan their barcode, and the locker opens up. So
Nice.
our
Okay.
refer to that, and our hope, and we're still testing. We're trying to do longer hours on certain days, but our hope is to just have 24/7 pickup if we can keep that area not tampered with. So that's what we're aiming for in So even if people, because I think one of my concerns with working people is we did change our hours when we reopened. So we're now open after 5. So we shortened the hours on the days we used to be open until 9 because we looked at the door counter stuff and we really were not getting a lot of traffic between 8 and 9, and we felt like it was a better use of hours to be open on the evenings that we used to be open till 5 on Tuesday and Thursday. We're now open till 6:30, so we can have people be able to stop by after work, which I feel like was limiting our
Question.
so yeah, so we'll see. We're slowly going to try to roll out more access to the lockers. We're trying to find the balance because we need to look into getting an additional set of lockers to be able to fully. I think there's 21 lockers right now, and we need more than that for 24/7 operation that we were hoping for.
It's very clever. It's very clever.
Wendy, you mentioned the problem with vandalism outside the building, but anyhow, with the vestibule, where the lockers are, is there a way to integrate the code or whatever that you scan so that the door will only unlock for that individual that has a code to go into the vestibule? That way you're preventing vagrants just wandering in to hang out, smoke, do whatever they're doing, you know?
Yeah, there is not, the technology doesn't exist for that, at least within our reach. We dreamed of that. That was one of like, when we were like, we have this, I think it was $15,000. What can we do with it? That was not in technology within our reach. I did consult with the police department about that. And they said that and I had to look at the space, and they said that they have, when there are vagrants, people generally will report them right away at an ATM. So it's kind of a similar system of like open door, and then the police would respond to that. And they were even thoughtful enough to say, like out of bed, we might trespass them right away, but we wouldn't want to cut them off from library access. So it would be really up to you how you wanted to handle it. So I appreciated that they really did think about what type of people do come use our space at times. So we're looking at adding another security camera just in case anything happens. We will have, because our current security cameras don't have, we have some view of the vestibule, but we are looking into adding another one in case there is anything. We're also looking at part of the roof project is we'd like to move the door because ice continually where the roofs connect of the library. Ice regularly drips off the building and then creates a sort of sheet of ice right in front of the door. So if we could move the door over to, I don't know if you're familiar with the large print, but the next window over, if we did the roofing project and changed that, that would probably be safer for everybody, because at this point, with the way that the storms have been, we have to go out nearly hourly to salt the sidewalks because the water just washes the salt away and then it refreezes. So it's kind of a bad intersection right there. Oh, and John's there, so he might have some thoughts about that as well. We talked to John about this issue because of the funnel. It's really a river of water that comes off of our building.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Wendy?
I'm good for now.
Wendy, any questions for us?
I can't think of any right now. I just wanted to send my appreciation for all of the work you've been doing. It has not been the straightforward process to get all of our city stuff moving, and I look forward to Lincoln Hall reopening when we can get that renovated. And I think we tend to be, the library tends to be the place where people show up when they can't get into Lincoln Hall. So we will appreciate when they can.
Yes.
But I think the doorbell system seems to work for most people. It'll be nice to have a functioning government back in Lincoln Square.
Yes, it would. Great.
The library roof project that is going ahead this year, right? Isn't that?
I think there was a patch. I think we were going to do a patch. It was
We
a short-term patch until the whole thing could be done.
Okay.
Right,
I
the,
know we did
the
something.
bids we got really, they were too varied to, we got two bids, and it was just too much difference between the two bids to really make a.
That's right. Yeah.
Decision between the two, and,
Yep.
so we talked to Harlan about going out to bid again this year. Hopefully the circumstances will be better with contractors available, maybe, see, time tells, everything's different these days.
We'll keep our fingers crossed. Collectively as a community, we'll keep our fingers crossed.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you, Wendy. We appreciate all
you.
that you're doing as well.
Thank you. Sorry I couldn't be there, but I was at a meeting last night, and they don't want to drag my cover for the
Okay. Very understandable.
Completely
Fair enough.
understandable. Thank you, Wendy.
All right, thanks so much.
And next, we have an update from the Tree Advisory Committee and Arbor Day proclamation. And I see that we have Nick and Warren here. You guys want to come on up, get a nice comfy seat?
You want to just vote?
Yeah, we'll just grab
Yeah.
that. So thank you for inviting us, Sandra.
Thank you.
Yeah. And it was, I think, last January when I was approached Andrew about doing our annual proclamation letter for our Tree City USA application. And it's always kind of after the fact. And he brilliantly said, well, why don't we try and do it in March ahead of time? So good advice. And also sign in the last year's one. And I think I sent sort of an overview of what we've done in the past year. And a lot's been going on, and pretty exciting, I think, for the future. You know, what are the highlights I want to say? I think we're trying to be much more proactive in reaching out to the community now of doing, educational announcements. We're going to be, and I have to say that the new board member on our committee, Nicole, is great, and she's just jumped right in with a lot of past experience with publicity, and having Ashley on board has been wonderful, where she's been very receptive to some of the things we've been doing. So we're trying to get things out on a more regular basis, and we're going to be doing Tim German's coming back into town for a tree historic walk we're going to do on, I think it's May 3rd.
Nice.
And we're going to do an awesome tree contest later on. And those are sort of the new things we're trying to do. But at the same time, what's amazing now is that the partnership that we have with Branch Out Burlington is really reaping tremendous benefits. And just to remind you again that they and Warren was instrumental in starting Branch Out Burlington 26 years ago or so. Yeah. And I'd been involved for a while, and the organization's a volunteer organization that plants, would you take it, Warren? You say,
Well, they've done a lot of good work. I invite you to, if you're not familiar with them, to check out their website, branchoutburlington.org. They just do a tremendous amount of things for the community of Burlington and now beyond. And they invited us to start participating in their nursery. And we're now growing trees and at the nursery and bringing them back into the city of Essex Junction to plant and can help beautify our village center and our some of our other neighborhoods, which is nice. So it's been really good for us as a community to partner with them. Very welcoming, which is nice. And we work together with them. We do work at the nursery with them, help them out. So it's just been good. Yeah, great relationship.
we purchase the trees and plant them in early May. And then we have a group of volunteers that go over really right through September and take care of them once a week. And the end product usually is 2 years later, we've got beautiful trees with a cost to us, to the village, of about $50 a tree as opposed to spending $325. So,
Wow.
and this year we will be planting 37 trees from the nursery. So they're really starting to come in now. And so extending our budget greatly. And it's fun, it's a fun group of people, and it's very tangible what you see, what we get.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we'll do some workshops together. We're doing a tree training workshop that Essex is going to be involved in Burlington on April 6th, I think it is.
Okay.
Yeah. And we just found out today we got Tree City USA award, so for the 8th year in a row. And we're one of 10 communities in Vermont that have granted this. So
And I was able to put city of on it.
yes, really.
Great.
Yeah,
That's great. That's our first one, yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
yeah.
Better than what I have to do at home, of just cross out village and write city with a black Sharpie.
That's right. Yeah. And we're hoping to be able to contribute to the two big projects coming up, because we're sort of on the pulse of some other grant money for perhaps the Crescent Connector or One Main Street that may come available. So,
Yeah.
We'll keep you posted on that, and that is state and federal money,
Great.
and it's rolling finally. So
Okay.
we'll keep you abreast of that, so that if it applies to the projects, and some of the projects that we're doing, it will.
Mhm.
So it will help offset costs, which is a bonus to the city.
Yeah.
That's great.
Which the cost offset is always appreciated, but especially then when it means that we get more trees, we get more oxygen, and that can be in our air, and
yeah.
our breathable air, our treescape looks nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
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 I really do appreciate that. And I also appreciate how you talk about educational opportunities for the broader community, but how in past years, working with our area schools, in the update you talk about ADL, I think last year,
Right.
and I recall up at Summit in other years.
Yeah.
So-
Tomorrow I go to Hiawatha to make plans for our Arbor Day celebration, May 6th, May 5th. Yeah, somewhere. Yeah.
Nice. That's what I was going to ask is, so my next was going to be for Arbor Day. What are you guys thinking?
Well, that's sort of what we're doing. It's part of the requirement, but we always want to do it. We've mostly just been focusing on schools throughout, and we've done every school, the high school, we've done it at the park, and Hiawatha has a real need for some trees being planted there. It's pretty void of, but,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're actually working closely with the school department, and they've been very open to us working with them to help them with any tree things. A lot of things we do with them is planting,
Mhm.
but they've been good to
Yeah.
work with. Very good.
yeah. And I really want to shout out to Ricky in Public Works. They've been so supportive, and I think it's been a good relationship because we're able to offer them a lot of advice and manage problem calls that they get. And yeah, and we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing without their work.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I talk about when people ask me about getting involved in the community, they generally ask, so with the tree committee, like what do they do? And my general response is, well, they do. They don't just sit in a room and talk about trees.
Yeah.
They go out and they plant many trees. They have strategic plans for things like the Emerald Ash Borer. And so it's a committee that does, and not just sit and talk.
Yeah.
I also greatly appreciate and have seen quite a bit. Appreciate all of you, the committee, and you two for leading it.
Good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
Can I just ask, what has the Emerald Ash Borer infestation, is that sort of plateaued? We haven't heard anything about it. I mean, it doesn't seem, is it sort of plateaued, or what's the feeling about it?
No, it has
No?
not plateaued. It is still moving. It is basically almost all the way around Essex Junction.
We're an
at this
island
point.
now. of not having it, yeah.
The fortunate thing for us here in the village is that on public land and private property, we don't have a lot of existing ash trees that were here. The only place I can think of is down by the Winooski River, off Cascade, down behind Cascade Park and along that area. You'll find some native ash trees. Most of the other ash trees in the village have been planted. And we're working, as you know, on managing those trees by removing and replanting and talking to the residents and the educational process, which Nick and I are very surprised because we're the ones knocking on doors and talking to the folks. And now this is like year 4 that we're doing this, they know. Oh yeah, we're familiar with that. Yeah, we see what's going on and they understand. So it's been good.
And often they kind of wish they lived on the other side of the street because that's the street that the village owns that right of way. And they have to deal with their own right now. And we offer advice to them and they'll have conversations with us, but it's not really in our cards to
Right.
Yeah.
plant all those. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any other questions for Nick and Warren?
Good.
And of course, needing to recognize Tim Kermer in his
Yes.
stepping down from the
Not completely.
well.
He's a worker.
Okay,
He doesn't like the meetings.
that's not surprising.
Yeah.
He'll help us in the Branch Out Burlington nursery with our trees. We ask, he'll be there.
Yeah.
Great. And so as a part of this, we have the Celebrate Arbor Day proclamation. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve of the Celebrate Arbor Day?
So moved.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? And the date's right, correct?
Yes.
Great. So then, even though it says April 28, 2023,
That's the National Arbor Day.
okay.
That's not, and I have to see the resolution.
I don't know if it really matters.
I really,
I don't think it does.
Okay.
Because we have a Vermont Arbor Day and we celebrate it a week later, but we can celebrate the national.
I don't care what day.
Yeah.
I really don't. As long as we do it.
Yeah.
So we had the motion on the table. It's been seconded. Any further discussion?
Good.
Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed, say nay. Great, so that passed unanimously. Anything else that you guys want from us or we can do to help you?
No, well, thank you for
your support.
your support. You
Yeah.
know, it's going on 9 years, I think, when we first came. Well, 14 was when the committee was formed, but you've been supporting us with the budget for a while. And I think it shows.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hands down,
Yep.
the neighborhoods where I've seen the trees just literally growing and significantly.
Yeah.
They feel like neighborhood streets. They feel like nice walkable streets and not just necessarily a sidewalk that happens to be next to a fairly busy road.
Right. They're starting to make an impact in the communities, I think. Yeah. Yep. Good.
Well, thank you guys.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See you, Dottie. And next on our agenda, we have 6C, the Chittenden Solid Waste District budget presentation with Sarah Reeves, and I see our representative Mike Sullivan as well. Yep.
I am Sarah Reeves, I'm the executive director for the Chittenden Solid Waste District. And every year our board of commissioners who represents each of our members who does pass a budget, but they don't pass the budget completely because they pass it on to you all.
And each of our member city towns is asked to review our budget and to then vote on approving it. So when we get the approval from our city towns, then we have an action plan. I do like to start with kind of who we are, then we'll just see folks know who we are. So we're chartered by the legislature to manage solid waste that is generated by and because this is our budget, I have to hone in on where we do receive our revenue and where we don't. So you can see this was our fiscal 22 revenue, and I was kind of focusing on this the bottom line that says we don't receive any direct payments for our services from our member towns, including taxable tax. Our revenue is provided in the three main areas. So the sale of material like compost, user fees or tip fees for managing materials directly at one of our facilities, like the drop-off center or materials facility, and solid waste management fee. That is the fee that's charged to haulers when they bring material directly for disposal. And this is what I would share a little bit of how we're doing. I do get this question when it comes to talk to our member towns, and would like to focus on that 39% savings. So 51% of material recycled or converted away from landfills is very, very good. And we've got that 39% that is being landfill. About half could actually be further either recycled, composted, or otherwise converted. So a lot of our education efforts are focused on having those taken under examination of their material that they're throwing away, and just double checking, is this something that actually should be recycled, or if there are batteries in here that maybe should go for battery material. You might have some extra organics that actually should be drop-off or compost. Think of it, there's quite a bit of material that can't go elsewhere. So the bottom line, like you all need to get to zero every year. We're anticipating or budgeting revenues of $15,400,000, and we're budgeting expenses at $14,400,000, and that leaves us to do is income from operations just under $900,000. And from there, we go waterfall. We put the excess revenue into a series of reserve funds that are there. And we established them in a priority folder so that we're making sure that the reserves aren't over or underfunded. And where there's any excess after each individual reserve is funded, that excess then does end up in capital reserve. We never know too much. And a few numbers comparing this year to next year, the current year to the next year coming. The revenue change is about just under 10% to the positive. Expenses just under 9% higher than the current year. We are seeing a fairly significant increase by the percentages we see in both administrative costs and some travel and training increases. The administrative cost increase is because we are moving. We've been in our Redmond Road building in Burlington for 25 years, and we are moving to an office suite that is being shared with South Burlington Police Department. And it was in anticipation of building our own facility, but that proved too expensive. I listened to the report from the library folks, and yeah, we can have. I mentioned the three kind of sources of revenue are user fees or fees, solid waste management fees, and resale materials. That's how we fund all of our operations and our programs. And the facilities, so drop-off centers, materials recycling facilities, the environmental depot, the organics, the virtual facility, those are all funded through trustees and user fees and the sales of those products out of that program. And that is important because that is, that's in our chart, that once the charter says, excuse me, once we have a disposal facility, that facility is generally fee to cover its costs, as opposed to charging, say, our municipalities for acceptance. Again, I mentioned that solid waste management fee, that is $27 per ton that is charged to haulers for a ton of state county trash that's disposed of. And we have not increased that rate in about 10 years. And I have let my board know that we do need to engage in conversation this year about that fee, about, does it make sense to maintain the same fee over 10 years? Nothing has stayed the same over 10 years, and really examining how we want to minimize those costs. So on the slide, one way that I think we can tap into that. Material recycling facility, the MRF. This fee is going up. We are currently charging $8 per ton. We will be increasing the fee to $85 per ton starting July 1. And that is a direct response to a significant increase in our processing contract that we have with Stella. Stella manages the day-to-day operations of the MRF, and those costs are going up by about 5%. So in order to cover some of the additional costs and again to make this facility self-supporting, we'll be increasing that 60 and close to $85. We're budgeting material sales or the sales of recycling to be pretty much the same as this year. So the markets are stable and stagnant. So we don't want to overestimate the potential revenue from that. Our organic diversion facility, our compost facility, we are also increasing the fee there from $5 to $70 per ton. And this is also a direct result of a decrease in the amount of food scraps coming into our facility. This happened about a year and a half ago when Stella opened up their large organic facility in Williston, which was designed to manage material that is contained in packaging that can't be used, sold, can't be distributed, and needs to be removed from the packaging. So pallets and pallets, for example, of vegetarian dressing that is not supposed to fail. So now it all has to go through the machine separately from packaging. They did also divert some of the corporate material. So those are the loss. So we're still recovering from that loss. Where we gained some tons back, but we are not anywhere near where we were a couple of years ago. So that's where you're seeing that bottom line and the negative number for that program is going to subsidize with dollars. We were just about breaking even in fiscal 22, and then due to that losses. Our drop-off centers are likewise also in the red. They have been subsidized facilities for quite some time, and so we are proposing raising bag prices to avoid that subsidy. So if we did not raise bag prices, the drop-off center system would have, again, a subsidy of $421,000. And for some historical reference, pre-COVID, the small bag was $2.75. So we're looking to increase that small bag to $3, and that's for up to 15 gallons of trash. The medium bag will be up to 33, 34 gallons of trash, and the large bag is up 45, 50 gallons. The drop-off center system represents almost half of our personnel costs, our resident benefits costs, material management costs, which is foreign transportation disposal fees that we pay to Stella and their schedule, because I did affect them, it's already a 5 days. But Tuesday through Saturday, all our problems. So what that word will do is provide a bit more service for the different consultants who are 3 days and folks who are- So it's much easier to communicate when we're open, and it should relieve some of the stress on people and feel available. Can I mention some staffing considerations? We are struggling just like I think everyone else still is. In particularly in Chittenden County, we, for example, are trying to fill a maintenance position for about a year and a half. Very difficult to find drivers that are available for example as well. And this year we are looking to provide a 7% cost of when we passed this budget that is in place right now, fiscal 23, we started off at 12% COLA. So it is July, our folks are already behind the requirements. The CPI at that point was about 6%. So the 7% is as of that will again take place July 1. Benefits also went up significantly, so what we did there was move to a low cost health plan, and that we did on January 1st. We're increasing our employees' contributions to the premium. Right now, we ask employees to increase 3.25% of their salary for premium, and that way is 3.5%. So those two changes alone help to offset the COLA to where the total compensation for employees is only up 1.4% compared to the capital plan continues to be robust. At the end of this current, the next fiscal year 24, we should still have our $3.35 billion. And that is a result, again, of that waterfalling effect. We've had a very robust material sales year last year, so that extra revenue in excess of expenditures is brought into the capital budget, capital reserve, which is great because that means that we will have enough money to make improvements in this coming year to the Building Drop-Off Center and to expand the Burlington Drop-Off Center. And then in the next 3 to 5 fiscal years going out, making improvements to Essex, Burlington, and Burlington. And here is the one reserve that we are needing to find creative ways to, and that is our post-closing fund. We are responsible for maintaining the coastline roads and we are at about year 27.8 in that 30-year post-closure plan. And before we can move to the next phase, which is called custodial care, we have to show state that we're not generating expense. So each year we're either pure running through the landfill that the fields are great, that there's no issues especially with those. So we have some work to do. We are right now in the data collection stage, so we're anticipating that we will not have enough technology. So we need to find ways to increase the money in that closure fund to make sure that we certainly enough through the end of the 30 years, don't have enough to bring us into the custodial care. So we're anticipating another 85 years after 30. So how can we do that? And is that a, again, what's always been with me, I think that is one of those very appropriate uses for that fee. We should increase that to be able to fund the closure. And then at the top, we do ask each of our member towns to adopt our budget and answer any questions.
Great. Thank you, Sarah. Before we get into questions, Mike or Amber, is there anything that you'd like to add from your perspectives?
Well, having just begun more or less, I've been impressed at how rigorous and how amazing this whole process is. It's just one of those things where, oh yeah, I understand that stuff, but oh wow. So sorry. I think it's doing real good, and I'm really looking forward to the new MRF. Very excited about that. But no real questions, because I see Sarah most every month anyway.
Great. And I think I saw Amber shake her head that she didn't have anything else to add to either. Just to start off, piggybacking off of Mike, congratulations on that vote for the MRF. That's exciting. It's wonderful to have that facility being modernized.
Yeah, it has been a long time coming. The old MRF is really wearing its welcome. It's done such a great job for a very long time, but it's time. And we're so pleased and thrilled and overwhelmed by the full support. 82% voters voted in support of that bond. And it shows the commitment that we're very excited.
And I think that it says in the memo here that the goal is to break ground in the spring of 2024. So just about a year from now. Just exciting. Yeah, you mentioned the 7% cost of living increase. We had a similar question here about that, and what we talked about doing was, instead of just adding that to the base, having it be a one-time payment, especially who knows if the cost of living is then going to come back down, and then we wouldn't be faced with potentially taking money away from our staff. Is that a topic that came up with your board?
We actually last year went through a subcommittee of the board that focused on our contribution. We had a study done by government to basically make sure that we were still in market range for our positions, but we did have some that were not. So we were able to make those adjustments in real time. And we looked at a variety of approaches. Because again, last year also was higher than it had been normal years. And there was a concern of our board that would be sustaining these kinds of increases. And that option was briefly discussed, and it didn't really get too much traction. I frankly don't really recall why it didn't take off, but the board, the subcommittee and the board ultimately felt that sticking with the way that we have been managing the increases for now would work. But I think that now that we're in another year of a very high COLA, we'll probably want to take a look at that again and just take another feedback on some of the recommendations put out of the plan and just say, normally we like to evaluate about every 7 years, but these are kind of still impressive in time. So that is something we'll have to take another look at and see if it makes sense to do.
Okay. And the last thing that I had is, you were talking about about half of what goes in the trash could have been recycled, which makes me wonder, we're about to print, or we have printed, our annual report. Makes me wonder about, in a future year, could there be some kind of an informational sheet that we might be able to include, which, while we don't mail out our annual report to our entire community, it's at least something where it could be on the digital version, and for those who do request a paper copy, would be there that way, just as a way to try and help spread that message.
That would be fantastic. And we do provide brief information to any member town that are included in the report. We are happy to provide that infographic, for example. We think that would be helpful. Anything that you would like us to include, we will happily.
Great. Any other questions?
I'm good. You've been very thorough job, Sarah. Thank you.
All right. Well, Sarah, thank you as always. We appreciate you being here. Oh, we need to do a vote. Just got to get to that.
Yeah.
I don't have a motion for you, I'm sorry.
Let's go with, I would entertain the motion that the city council approve of the fiscal year 2024 budget for Chittenden Solid Waste District.
So moved.
I'll second.
Sarah, in your judgment, is that what you need? Great. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed say nay. Great, so that passed unanimously. Now, thank you, Sarah. Have a good evening. And next, I believe we have the Department of Energy grant support letter, and I see John here as well. Not sure if that's him or you taking this.
Yeah, I can just start that. So John reached out that he's been working on this project with a group of folks to try to work through some code changes in Vermont. And I know at CCRPC we thought about this a little bit too, just in the sense that we have very sort of hard system to work in Vermont. We've got building codes, the energy codes are operated by somebody different. We've got a number of small residential construction that there's nobody really enforcing the energy code. And so there's lots of world of improvement for these kinds of things. And at the time, the architects were very much interested in trying to help solve this problem, and we're an excellent group to do that. And so I'll leave it to John to talk about how this effort has taken off.
Thank you, Regina. Hello, everyone. So it has been kind of frustrating. Architects are kind of left in the middle of this process, in that we have to follow the rules for commercial and residential energy code construction. And yet, once the rules are written, there's really no support network other than Efficiency Vermont, which has resources through the energy utility rates, but the state itself actually has little to no ability to administer the regulations. And in fact, there's some discussion about compliance and how is it done, and essentially it's an honor system where the designers, professional design professionals will sign a certificate that states that we are sure that the plans and specifications meet the required codes, and the contractors sign a similar certificate saying that they believe that they've built it to those same codes. So that's the deal. You file the certificates away, and it's presumably they're on file somewhere, but there's really no follow-up. There's no training. There's no real back and forth with the contractors or the design professionals to work through problems that come up with building codes. By contrast, all the rest of the building codes for life safety, fire safety, plumbing, heating, all of that is regulated and dealt with through the Department of Public Safety, Division of Fire Safety, in what we know as the Vermont Fire and Building Code. So we're simply saying, look, we enjoy that process. There are people to talk to. They're intelligent. They can train. They have a system throughout the state to handle these things. And buildings are getting more and more complex. Wouldn't it be great if we were all pulling this together in one package instead of having this stray energy code sitting off to the side with without the same resources available to all of us? And as the state ratchets up the energy code requirements based on trying to achieve certain goals by 2030 and so on, it gets more and more difficult. And we would love to help the state figure out a way to really do this properly and maybe get all the codes in one place and properly administered. So there are two things going on. One, there was a bill, H 332, that asked in the legislature for them to provide $125,000 to help us start a study committee that would review this and come up with a recommendation. In a parallel effort, there's Richard Fazy and the Energy Futures Group going after a Department of Energy grant for almost $5 million to do a similar thing, which is come up with a study group, get all the stakeholders at the table, all the different administration components and bodies and people in Vermont, and just talk it through and see if we can come up with a plan that works for Vermont. And then there was a number of other stages and steps along the way for them. And I think we sent you an overview of what they're proposing. So what we're trying to do as the AIA Vermont is get communities and other people to sign on as supporters of this grant application effort in hopes of having the grant be successful and letting us have access to that $4 or $5 million, and instead of having the state of Vermont pay $125,000 to maybe do a certain amount of that, but obviously not all of the work that would be included under the grant application. So that's what we're trying to do. There are a number of people that have signed on, a number of entities and state people that have signed on as supporters. It's probably a heavy lift. There's a lot of various talk around the state about how this is going to happen, and nobody agrees. So we know that we need to do this. Compliance with our own energy regulations, which are already on the books, is required, and yet we're not really achieving those goals or achieving compliance with the information stated in the regulations. So we would like to see ourselves do a better job, and we're asking for your support of the grant application.
Great. Thank you, John. And just to make sure for everybody watching, basically the ask here is for us to sign on to a letter that commits us to just signing the letter and hoping that this moves forward. There's not a request for money. There's not really a request for us to do anything else, right?
It's really to say that you support the grant application and you are, kind of on board with the effort that should be achieved by the state in some way, shape, or form. We don't know what the answer is yet. That's what the grant is going to help us figure out. So there's no outcome yet. There's no commitment to spend any money. There's no idea that it's going to end up with, the process comes out with a recommendation.
Mm-hmm.
The recommendation, in order for it to actually happen in Vermont, would have to go through the legislative process and become, codified or adopted. So really we're saying, help us get everyone to the table so we can at least start solving this problem.
Yeah. Sounds good. And it sounds like there's really only forward progress that could happen. Doesn't seem like you can really get
could go sideways for a long time. I don't know. We haven't managed to kind of come to terms with this oddity of our code situation yet, but we're all hopeful that we'll be able to, work through this.
Great. George, Dan, Andrew?
John, I applaud and appreciate on behalf of, I guess, just about everybody, your altruism in taking this on, and the rest of you who are going after this. It seems like very necessary, and it's great you're doing it. Appreciate it.
Thank you, John. My comments echo what George and Andrew have already said, but also it just feels somewhat similar to the issue we're dealing with the TMDL and phosphorus in the lake, and that the EPA sets standards, and the the target is not fixed, it's a moving target, so, you know, these things down the road, who knows what, but I applaud you for going after this and totally support it.
We'd be happy to have you on board with us.
Something to think about.
So if there are no,
Well, AIA Vermont's already signed up as a, you know, advocate, and, you know, we think the grant application will be, more favorably viewed if municipalities are amongst those who are on. So
Yeah.
Essex Town voted, earlier this week to join the list of supporters, and, so we're hoping that you can as well.
absolutely. So on that note, I would entertain the motion that the city council authorize the city council president to sign the support letter.
Yeah, I will move that the city council authorize the council president to sign the support letter.
I'll second that.
Thank you both. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Passed unanimously. Thank you all. John, thank you for bringing this to our attention. Happy to be a part.
Thank you very much, and we appreciate your support.
Yeah.
Any other questions for me about any other topics? You probably need to move along on your agenda, so we'll see.
Not tonight. I'm sure that we could have a great long conversation, but yeah,
Good.
enjoy your night.
Anytime. Invite me.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So next on our agenda is one that we would have an executive session. So we will move from that.
Couldn't do that. Do you want me to do that?
Well, before we get there, let's just do the consent agenda.
Oh, yeah.
I move we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed, say nay. Great. And into the reading file and council member comments. Anything anybody else wants to talk about?
Oh, I'm good.
For those who missed it, Regina and I had a nice dog and pony show twice today. We were on WVMT's morning drive at 8 and then town meeting TV at 10. So for people who have questions about if you've missed any of our 5 budget meetings and or 2 of our public hearings, these are also other opportunities where you could hear about the budget, the what that 0.4% tax increase would mean, why it is what it is, as well as the 8 articles that we have on the ballot, if you have questions as to what those mean.
Where can people see those?
Oh yeah, I kind of left that part out. It's the most important part, right?
Yes.
So WVMT has their website, which if you just Google WVMT Vermont and Morning Drive, you'll find it. As well as Town Meeting TV has that recorded. It's on their website, and I'm assuming that Regina might be writing down, putting these links on the city's website.
Will
to make
do.
it even easier. Look at
Yeah.
that.
Perfect.
Very good. Thank you for doing that, guys.
Thanks for closing that communication loop that people could actually
Yeah.
do that instead of me just bragging that we got to go do this.
Yes. We were on TV.
Yes, we've had a long day. Any counselors have anything else?
I'm good.
I'm good.
Then if someone does have that motion right up,
I have it right here.
great.
I will move that the city council make the specific finding that general public knowledge of pending or probable civil litigation or a prosecution to which the public body is or may be a party would place the city at a substantial disadvantage.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Great.
And now I will move that the city council enter into an executive session to discuss pending or probable civil litigation or prosecution to which the public body is or may be a party pursuant to 1 VSA 313(1)E to include the city council and city manager.
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. Also passed unanimously. We will not be coming back from this with a decision, so we will just adjourn outside of TV land. So bid you all adieu. Have a good night. We'll catch